For by grace are ye saved. This is to be understood, not of temporal salvation, but of spiritual salvation, and that being actual. For salvation was not only resolved upon, contrived and secured in the covenant of grace for the persons here spoken to, but it was actually obtained and wrought out for them by Christ, and was actually applied unto them by the Spirit. And even as to the full enjoyment of it, they had it in faith and hope. And because of the certainty of it, they are said to be already saved, and besides, they were representatively possessed of it in Christ their head. Those interested in this salvation are not all mankind, but particular persons, and such who were by nature children of wrath and sinners of the Gentiles. And it is a salvation from sin, Satan, the law, its curse and condemnation, and from eternal death and wrath to come. And it includes all the blessings of grace and glory, and is entirely owing to free grace, the free favor of God, to which salvation in all its branches is ascribed, as election, redemption, justification, pardon, adoption, regeneration, and eternal glory. And it may refer to the grace of all the three persons. For men are saved by the grace of the Father, who drew the plan of salvation, appointed men to it, made a covenant with his Son, in which it is provided and secured, and sent him into the world to obtain it. And by the grace of the Son, who engaged as a surety to effect it, assumed human nature, obeyed and suffered in it for that purpose, and has procured it. And by the grace of the Spirit, who makes men sensible of their need of it, brings it near, sets it before them, and applies it to them, and gives them faith and hope in it. Hence it follows, through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God. Salvation is through faith, not as a cause or condition of salvation, or as what adds anything to the blessing itself, but it is the way, or means, or instrument, which God has appointed for the receiving and enjoying it, so that it might appear to be all of grace. And this faith is not produced by man's own free will and power, but it is the free gift of God, whereby he, through means of his own spiritual operation and inner workings, produces faith in us. And therefore salvation through it is consistent with salvation by grace. Since that itself is of grace, it lies entirely in receiving grace, and gives all the glory to the grace of God. Salvation is not of ourselves, it is not of our desiring, nor of our deserving, nor of our performing, but is of the free grace of God. Man cannot even take credit for his own act of faith, for that very faith was itself created by God and implanted in us that we might believe.